Hello, my dear friends. You are watching your weekly astrology horoscope with me, Marina. During this week, we start with an intense conjunction between Mars and Saturn. This conjunction occurs once in 2 years. And also, it's between two planets which are not really friends. So, it's an important aspect which we need to explore and prepare for. Also, Mercury will be very active during this week. We will have two harmonious aspects between Mercury and Saturn, Mercury and Mars. By the end of the week, Mercury will square Pluto and then will ingress to Taurus. So all of this means that there could be important shifts when it comes to our communication, our plans, the way we look at things, overall the thinking process. And one more thing also, we have Venus ingressing into Pisces. Venus, the planet of love and harmony and balance, is moving into the romantic, sentimental, tender, compassionate sign of Pisces. Venus feels really nice in Pisces. This is the sign of her exaltation. So this can positively impact our way of relating to other people. Hopefully this can bring more compassion, more understanding, more balance in our relationships. So this is a very nice transit. Now, let's get started with Monday, the first aspect that I mentioned, conjunction between Mars and Saturn. Mars and Saturn are two opposite forces or energies. Mars is about moving forward, taking action, taking risks, being impulsive, following the instinct. It's a very fiery, masculine, proactive energy. On the other side, Saturn is about stability, trying to keep things the way they are, being cautious, being responsible, being mature. Mars tends to be more immature and instinctual and kind of like this primal energy. Saturn is bringing a very adult, balanced, sometimes also rigid position. So what happens when we have both of these together? First of all, there could be some friction. Yes, they can kind of like be in a conflict. So we may feel pulled between the desire to move forward and do something and take some risks, and on the other side, try to keep things stable, trying to kind of like keep what we already have. So from the challenging side of this combination, we can experience frustration, back and forth, like we are stuck. We don't know, should we move forward? Should we stay where we are? So it's like, back and forth energy. It could bring some kind of fear of change, fear of taking risks, fear of relying on our primal energy and willpower, certain doubts, delays, frustrations. But such a combination can also help us to be very hardworking. And if Mars can take the best from Saturn and Saturn to get the best from Mars, this can be absolutely amazing. Or in other words, if we can kind of like rationally explore and try to find the time when we are supposed to take action without rushing too much into it, without being extremely impulsive or irrational or immature. And on the other side, if we try to kind of like go through our barriers, not allow them to stop us, to find ways to move forward and not to allow fear from change to stop us, this can turn into a very productive, constructive, the best word is constructive combination. So it is hard. It is kind of like difficult to navigate this, but the potential is very constructive. So things or projects which require hard work, effort, also perhaps taking some action, but in a reasonable way, this aspect would be tremendously helpful. And another thing which is also important for the whole upcoming week is that we are right after a new moon. So in the beginning of a new lunar cycle. And this means that the energy should be directed outwards, or also we may say that we need to take some action. It's not just the time to process or to integrate or to kind of like work with this internally. After a new moon in Aries, with the sun still in Aries, we need to take some action. So engage actively with the external world. Don't hide in the corner. Don't find excuses. Why? Whatever. Just do something practical, something constructive. You will be rewarded for that. So again, on Monday, we also have two nice aspects. So Mars is having a nice aspect with Jupiter, harmonious minor aspect, which can help us also to see the bigger picture and to take action in this direction. And Jupiter can help with some optimism, so we don't over focus on the potential problems. And Venus is having the same type of aspect with Pluto, which can bring more passion, more commitment, motivation, especially when it comes to our desires and our emotions. And the moon is in Taurus, which again indicates that we need to be practical. We need to stay connected with reality and do something out there. Financial activities, taking care of your health and body, doing something related to your place, work, anything that has a real practical impact in your life. It would be great to do it on Monday. On Tuesday, Venus is moving to Pisces, so the emotional atmosphere can become more sensitive and emotional and kind of like, tender. So for dates, for relationships, this is a very nice harmonious position of Venus, which can again help us to be more compassionate and sensitive and to be able to connect deeper with other people. On the other side, on Tuesday, we also have a nice aspect between Jupiter and Saturn, minor harmonious aspect. So this is helping us to find the balance as well between growth and stability, between optimism and realism. So some kind of social adjustment or kind of like reconsidering some of your perspectives would also be very, very successful. The moon is in Gemini on Tuesday, so we need to rely especially on our minds. We need to connect with others, share our ideas, engage actively in communication. Could be a very nice time also to learn something, to gain new skills, to understand something. Again, mostly through the mind, the rational mind. On Wednesday, Venus, which is already in Pisces, will have a quintile creative aspect with Uranus. This is a very exciting combination which can bring something new, something exciting, something provocative, something that is kind of like inspiring you to do something different, to do something new, especially when it comes to your personal life, your relationships, and maybe even financial matters. Another aspect on Wednesday is between Mars and Neptune, minor harmonious aspect. So this one can help us with creativity, with sensing what the next step would be, what the best next step would be. And for creative work, this is especially harmonious for doing something to help others as well. The moon is still in Gemini on Wednesday, so communication is still very active, the mind can be very active, and overall we may experience more variety, and we can be very curious about life, about other people, so this can feel pretty exciting as well. On Thursday, Mercury is having a sextile with Saturn. Great aspect for those of us that need a little bit more structured thinking, logic, practicality, to make wise decisions. This aspect can really help us do that. For business negotiations, it's fantastic. For practical analysis, again, realistic thinking. This is so important. And to engage with something, so to do something concrete to materialize our plans and ideas. So Thursday can be especially productive day. I would say the first half of the day would be even more productive because the moon is in Gemini. So the mind is very active, focused on decisions, on communication. And during the second half of the day, the moon will be in Cancer. So we can get a little bit more passive, a little bit more emotional. We may need to slow down a little bit. And also on Thursday, one more aspect is between Mercury and Jupiter and Neptune. So the mind is very, very active. Not only the logic, but also the bigger perspective, the philosophical thinking, and even the creative thinking. So Thursday is especially appropriate for planning and for exploring things from different perspectives. Then on Friday, Mercury is having a sextile with Mars, which can also help us to take some action, to be more active. The mind can work really fast. So Mercury is in Aries, so under the rulership of Mars, and has a sextile with Mars. This can make the mind very active, productive. We can find fast solutions. We can communicate very openly and actively with other people. Keep in mind that even though it's a nice aspect, we may still be a little bit too impulsive with communication, with sharing what we think. So keep that in mind. And the moon is in Cancer on Friday. So our sensitivity, our emotionality is increased. Our intuition can help us and guide us. And we may also focus on some personal matters, family stuff, children, our homes. Our emotional state is also extremely important. On Saturday, nothing much happens except for the moon, which is in Cancer, and we'll have multiple aspects of different kinds. So it's a wonderful time to spend it with your family or to do something that will nurture your inner self, your own needs. There is a trine with Jupiter and Neptune, so this can add some positivity. It's a great time for also relaxation and just to enjoy things. There is also an opposition with Pluto, so Sometimes we might overreact or take things too personally. Keep that in mind. And finally, on Sunday, we have two interesting events that include Mercury. First of all, Mercury will have a square with Pluto. And this can activate the mind tremendously. We can get extremely focused to the point that we might even be kind of obsessed about certain idea or plan or something we want to do. There is a higher chance for confrontations, for some kind of difficulties in communication, and also sometimes for negative thinking and even fears. So keep this in mind. This is really, really intense for the mind. But after that, again on Sunday, Mercury is transitioning into Taurus and will stay there for a while. So the mind can be much more grounded, focused on practical things, very productive in the sense of understanding how things work in reality when it comes to, doing something, how exactly we are supposed to do it. The mind is becoming slower and more patient as well. So we need to take our time to accomplish the things that we want, to prepare, to plan, to learn, whatever. And that's totally fine. The strength of Mercury in Taurus is with finding practical solutions and materializing ideas. So that would be great if we can focus on that. And the moon is in Leo on Sunday, which can bring more courage, more passion, desire to do something we want, desire to express ourselves. So the possible challenge is that we may also dramatize. Leo can dramatize, and with Mercury square Pluto, we may dramatize. So keep this in mind. The positive manifestation, the positive side, is to look at everything that is happening as a game. Like life is a game, and this is our stage. We all have our roles, and there is certain scenario. But like we can go on with this metaphor for a really long time. So try to enjoy the process and also engage with this actively. So this is what we can expect during the upcoming week. If you want to understand more about astrology, of course, you can always go to my website, marstars.net. You can check the links below for personal sessions or any other questions you might have. Thank you so much for joining me, and have a lovely week.